Well, hello everybody. This is Paris Procopis. Welcome to the Paris Procopis Show on a special Sunday night edition. It's not a special edition. I usually do my show on Sunday nights, but hey, that's what I'm here for. Tonight I have a very special guest, and I'll get with her in a moment. Just want to remind everybody that we are early voting is already kicked in, so go ahead and start getting in early and getting your vote in if you so wish to do it. I know a lot of people, I'm the same way. I like to wait until actual election day because I don't believe in election season. I think it should be an election day. We go in, we vote, it gets counted, and then they find 30,000 ballots mysteriously in the trunk of a car and we lose. But that's just how it goes lately. But just remember, Election Day is next week, Tuesday, August 9th. Ironically, the anniversary of the dropping the bomb on Nagasaki. So I hope that's not symbolic of anything. But hey, I hope it's a real blast. Okay, but just remember, obviously we have a very hard-fought primary. Tomorrow night on the ABC network in Milwaukee, WISN Channel 12, there will be a candidate forum between Rebecca Kleefisch, Tim Michels, and Tim Ramthun. Becky, Tim, and Tim. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a town hall debate style, so it'll be interesting to see how that translates. Obviously, the stage debate last week Sunday was the one that, Becky did okay at holding her own because she's a performer. She's a performer, and she's been doing this all her life. She knows how to be in front of an audience, in front of a camera, that kind of thing. Tim Michels did okay for being a non-politician. He did pretty good. He did okay. He wasn't completely on his game, but he held his own, and he had some really pointed answers. I really like the fact that he wants to basically do an audit of every single department, find out who's wasteful, who's not, and everything like that. I think the bureaucracy in Wisconsin is very afraid of this. And also, he'll be if he ends up winning all of this, he'll be the head of the party. And that, I think the party masters have an issue with that. Tim Ramthun, of course, was really on his game. He did a good job of actually elevating himself above the Robin Voss portrayal of him being this crackpot kook who cares nothing about, he wants to reinstall President Trump and all that stuff. And that's not really what he's doing this for. And yes, he is an evangelist and very, very passionate about election integrity. And he should be, as should all of them. So anyway, and then there was the Wednesday debate with Dan O'Donnell on the Dan O'Donnell show. Look up Dan O'Donnell show on YouTube. You can actually watch the feed. They were all in studio, but Dan O'Donnell had the windows and stuff like that. Check it out. Look up Dan O'Donnell show on YouTube, or you can listen to it. Listen to the podcast on iHeartMedia on the Dan O'Donnell show podcast. I'm saying Dan O'Donnell show a lot. So anyway, I also have it actually linked right at the very top on newsundone.com. That's my new news website that I've been writing, other people have been writing, and I'm hoping to recruit even more people to writing. If you're interested in writing about politics, pop culture, news, anything that you're passionate about, it is from the right perspective. It's conservative. It's but all factions, if you will, of the conservative side. So just wanted to tell you all of that, so you have that in your hat. Obviously, we'll see tomorrow night's debate, see how that, or debate, forum, whatever it is. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll go from there. But that's not the only race in town on August 9th. We have primaries all over the state. I'm kind of tired of people saying, oh, we got to stop the circular firing squad. And okay, primaries are a good thing. It shows us what the candidates are made of, see how tough they are, how thick of skin they have, to see if they can handle a little bit of a pummeling before they have to take on their Democrat opponent. Because the Democrats are going to fight hard. They really don't. They never sleep. Like I've said before, the Democrats never sleep, and neither do vampires. Think about that for a minute. Is that a coincidence or is it? But anyway, there's primaries all around the state, and tonight I want to talk about the 2nd Congressional District, and that is right now occupied by Democrat Congressman Mark Pocan. I think I got the right congressman. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it. And there is a Republican primary, and tonight I'm going to talk to one of the candidates there, whom I met last week in person. I think we connected on Facebook or something before that. But so I want to introduce us. Welcome to the show, Charity Berry. Hello, Charity. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. We're still getting a little bit of a delay. We were doing some testing beforehand, but seems to be okay. Charity, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why are you putting yourself out there to run for office? You seem pretty young. You could be doing other things, and you want to run for Congress. Why?
Well, the truth is, I am a passionate patriot, have been all my life, educated voter, but not super involved in politics over the years. And I was pursuing an apprenticeship in a very little-known trade of music engraving when 2020 hit. And nobody else knows what music engraving is either, but it's like the fine editing of sheet music. And so when the whole country gets locked down and choirs and orchestras and no one is performing, they don't pay to get that editing done. And so I come from a small business background. I ran my dad's tree care ground crew for several years, so learned good solid American work ethic with a chainsaw in my hands. And I was yeah. So
Charity Berry is on the cutting edge.
Yes, on our door hanger we have the cut the deadwood from DC. So
I love it.
It needs to be done. So when 2020 hit, I was pursuing this apprenticeship, watching how the government handled COVID and the riots. I was born and raised in Madison, so when they burned State Street, that was close to home, and then the election, and realized that if not me, who, and if not now, when. Really felt called to step up for my friends and neighbors. I've lived in the 2nd District my entire life, the majority of it represented by Tammy Baldwin and Mark Pocan. And the truth is enough is enough. That far left does not even accurately represent the 2nd District. Maybe the Isthmus, but not the 2nd District.
Fascinating. So you born and raised in Madison. How did you come out of there untouched by the Democrat Kool-Aid or the liberal Kool-Aid?
Honestly, strong faith, strong family, and a home education. My mom put my older brother and sister into the public school system, and my older brother knew how to read when he went into kindergarten and didn't when he came out. And so she decided to make a change, and she put them into private school for a couple years while she did a lot of research because she didn't want to, quote, mess up her kids. So she did a lot of research to make sure she was going to do it right. And by the time I got into kindergarten, I was blessed to be homeschooled and didn't have to go to East High in Madison.
Wow. And it doesn't look like she messed you up, so that's awesome. Nope. Here you are, someone who's worked, someone who's run a small business. Now you're running for Congress. Okay, Mark Pocan, he's an incumbent, and he's been there, something like 300 years. Democrat district, it's been Democrat pretty much the whole time, with the exception of Scott Klug, who was the only Republican who ran. He was a 3-term Republican, and he term limited himself. He got out. After 3, he made a commitment, and that was his commitment, and then he was out. I have to ask, what are your thoughts on term limits?
I just talked to Scott the other day, and he said, I promised I wouldn't go over 12 years, and I only made it 8. I definitely do not believe in limiting myself and committing to something like that when the other side won't. I think Republicans in this state and across our entire nation are sick of trying to maybe virtue signal might be a strong word, but lift ourselves up while they play whatever game they want. The left plays whatever game they want, and we end up hurt by it. So as far as term limits go, I want to read the district and represent the people of the second district in term limits. I personally believe that that elections can be term limits. And I heard Senator Johnson talk about it a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that while a lot of people talk about term limits, the elected officials will be limited, but the staff's not limited, the bureaucrats aren't limited, and so then you get a lot of people going through that don't necessarily then understand as thoroughly what they're doing. My primary opponent wants to limit himself to 2 terms. So to be in Congress for 4 years, and the feedback that I've heard from that is, well, even while people that support term limits know that in a world where in a Congress where everyone is not limited in 4 years with the seniority that we have in place right now, the truth is you're not going to be able to get anything done in that amount of time. And so I am not in this. I never had a burning desire to go to DC and immerse myself in the swamp. But the truth is, I will be there as long as I need to be there to do the good people of the second district what they deserve.
Okay. That is fascinating. You made some interesting points in there. Now, I used to be like that in a lot of respects, but I never really considered the bureaucracy. Now, lately, I've been, the past couple of years, after seeing what President Trump had to go through, I've seen that the bureaucracy is more of a problem than the elected officials. And the elected officials feed off of them, the powers in the bureaucracy. And that's a problem. Okay, so you're going to get into Congress, and you know we're painting the picture. You're going to be a freshman. We were only freshmen. Sorry, that's a stupid song. But anyway, so I told you I get random on my show. But it keeps it interesting. But you get in there, you're a freshman, and they tell you go sit back there. You're a backbencher. Shut the hell up and don't say anything. What do you say to that?
That's not why I was elected to Congress. I was elected to represent approximately 800,000 people from Wisconsin, and that's what I'm going to do.
Charity Barity's here to represent. I love it. Okay. All right. So, pardon me. So you're going to get in there. So what are some of the big issues? What are your key issues? And everybody's got like 50. What are your top 3 or 4 or 5?
The economy is obviously a huge issue. Education is one that people in our district and I think across the nation are very fired up about and passionate about in recent history, as they've seen what's happened with COVID and everybody getting kicked out of school and those online schooling, coming home, and people seeing what's going on. They are getting fed up with education. So that is an area that I'm very passionate about. And it's not just soccer moms, that are talking to me about it. It's the Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, the Restaurant Association, saying people are not coming out of school ready to go into the workforce. And that's because we've prioritized social agenda into the school instead of academic results and making sure the kids know how to read and write and do simple math. And so I believe very firmly that the federal government really has no place in our education system. That should be state and local government and those domestic terrorist parents. But but that's not going to be an overnight switch from a freshman congresswoman. Betsy Voss did just come out and is starting to talk about getting rid of the federal Department of Education. I think that would be a good move that would help our kids and our communities on the whole. But in the meantime, we need to stop hinging that money on transgender bathrooms, as has come out more recently, but even the implementation of things like Common Core, critical race theory, critical gender theory, all those federal dollars, with the support of Mark Pocan, are tied to those issues, even down to our preschools. They don't get federal dollars for preschools if they don't implement that social emotional learning. And that's sickening. If those dollars are going to be contingent on anything, it needs to be academic results. And we need to try and pave the way for trade or apprenticeship programs in our high schools. Kids are coming out not ready to work, and not sure what they want to do. So they waste thousands upon thousands of dollars on a degree that they're not sure how to utilize, or there's not the job market for, and our trades are dying off.
Like gender studies.
Right.
You're better
It's a
off.
boy or it's a girl. I'm sorry.
You're better off taking biology, because then you know.
At least you know. But the interesting fact I learned, I already knew that the Department of Education was created by Jimmy Carter in 1979. I think that's a pretty common point of knowledge. But in 1976, when Jimmy Carter was elected, he was the first president ever to be endorsed by the teachers' unions. And I think that we have seen the failing of our kids as a result of pushing these teachers' unions. And our kids are not pawn for the unions. We need to stop treating them like that. And one size does not fit all. That's why it needs to come back to be more local.
I love it. Okay, what else? So education.
Yep. The economy. Obviously, that's slapping everybody in the face. Our gas prices are insane. We need to have energy independence. We need to have production independence. It's the Biden administration, from everything from the energy and cutting the Keystone Pipeline to trying to push the Build Back Better Act, which I know now they're trying to push like the light version through, is hurting our businesses here, and that's going to push it more overseas. We're going to see more supply chain issues. Another sort of aspect of that with the supply chain issues is people are concerned about food shortages, and I think with very good reason, and sort of ties that together with energy. But there are tax incentives. Your tax dollars are being used to incentivize the installation of industrial developments of wind and solar. They call them wind and solar farms, but they're not farms. And excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. But they are incentivizing the production of those industrial developments of wind and solar on prime farmland. There's a bill by Tom Tiffany in committee now, locked up in committee because of the majority that we have, to just take away the incentivization of the destruction of farmland. And I think that is something, especially over here in Iowa and Lafayette counties, that is very near and dear to a lot of constituents' hearts, because they're trying to put in a huge wind farm out here in the Driftless area. That's going to hurt our cattle farmers. It's going to hurt our tourism with Governor Dodge State Park, and all the other areas out here. It's a health concern for the people that live in Southwest Wisconsin.
Where's Iowa County?
Iowa and Lafayette County are directly west of Dane and Greene counties. So Lafayette touches the Illinois border. They're the counties that sit between Grant, which butts up to the Mississippi River, and Dane. So it's Southwest Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay. And that tends to be a very kind of deep blue area in most election cycles. Okay, so we got economy. We've got education. Next.
The border, I think, is another big issue, because it ties into the crime that we're seeing, the drugs that we're seeing on our streets. We need to finish the wall. And sometimes that's not a popular idea, especially in our district. But the truth is, the people on the ground, the border security says it works. And we need to stop virtue signaling in our politics and actually listen to the people on the ground. And in the immigration system, where Mark Pocan wants to abolish ICE, I think that is not the popular opinion, because it would hurt our country. We need to finish that wall and get our border secure, so that then we can manage the people coming across. The truth is, we need immigration in our country. That's a non-disputed fact. People like to, at least put out that Republicans just hate immigrants. That is clearly not true. But the truth is, if we don't stop the overflow, we're not going to be able to efficiently handle the people that actually want to be a part of American society and come over legally.
Oh, I love it.
I'm of everything else coming over.
Yeah. Well, I'm a son of immigrants. My parents immigrated. Well, my dad did, my mom's parents did, and everything like that. So, a bunch of Greeks came over and did Greek things, and there was no welfare and stuff like that. There was no heroin. There was no marijuana. There was no booze, unless you cleaned your plate. I'm just kidding. But we just, but they didn't have any sort of government subsidies or anything like that. They had to come. They had to do work. They had to. By golly, they became Americans. My dad even served in the U.S. Army. My uncle, my mom's sister's husband, is also an immigrant from Greece, and he also served in the Army and everything like that. So that should be something that we should hold near and dear to our hearts. So no, it's good.
I can trace my lineage back to the Mayflower. You know, if you don't get much more immigrant than the Mayflower. And, so
that means you're evil.
No, white supremacist, no doubt. No, it doesn't. And it's so it's. I mean, our country was immigrants. We didn't just show up here one day, and we need to cherish that. But we can't actually do immigration right until we control what's going on the border.
Well, think about this. You said you could trace your lineage all the way back to the Mayflower. There's the very first documented slave ship landed at Plymouth Rock. It was a man by the name of Anthony Johnson who could have brought the slaves over and stuff like that. They came over in a ship. It was a slave ship landed at Plymouth Rock. The crew was immediately arrested, and the slaves were freed, and they jailed the ship captain and the crew. Because the Puritans and that type of thing, people that came over in the Mayflower were all anti-slavery. Just
absolutely.
Fun fact, it's in 1646. Look it up.
Our country was founded on the principles that, they knew would not allow slavery to continue in this nation. That's why they wrote the laws the way they did. That's why it lasts the way it's written. That's why it needs to be preserved that way.
Yep, our founding fathers were brilliant. Oh, misogynistic. Oh my goodness, there were women there too. Anyway, it just you gotta love that. I mean, I'm sure we probably agree on a lot of things when it comes to teaching of history and everything else.
I'm sure.
So we got education. We've got, you mentioned energy policy, energy independence, and stuff like that. What would you, okay, so you're going to come in, you'd end up going to Congress in January. And what would you want to work on? What kind of committees would you want to be on? What are the things that drive you?
I think the education committee would be a great place to start. You mentioned the energy and commerce. The small business committee, I think, has a lot of reach. I've heard from some people that have worked with other Congress people small business affects so much, and the oversight portion of the congressional responsibility, you can have a lot to say because so many things affect small business.
Okay. Now we do have a situation in the United States. There's one position where the House of Representatives actually votes to confirm as well as the U.S. Senate, and that's for Vice President. Let's making some assumptions. Joe Biden's pretty sick. Let's assume we have, God forbid, I won't say it. Kamala Harris assumes the office, and let's say she has lack of foresight to appoint Hillary Clinton as vice president. Would you confirm?
Oh my goodness.
Nobody is that stupid, but I've heard Kamala speak lately, and I'm beginning to wonder. See, Joe Biden is ailing. He's got dementia. He's old. He's got an excuse. It's kind of sad,
Right.
really, if you think about it. But she's got no excuse.
It is. Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
It,
Yeah, she might appoint Hillary. Nobody in their right mind would do it because they know they'd immediately slip on a banana peel and die, and then Hillary Clinton would be president.
that would be a terrifying proposition. I will say that for certain.
I had to bring it up. I mean, it is a possibility. This could be the first time in a while that we have, well, the first time since 1975 ish, when Spiro Agnew became vice, or when Spiro Agnew resigned, the crazy Greek, yeah, the only Republican my grandparents ever voted for was Richard Nixon. Why? Because Spiro Agnew was Greek. Anyway, but they just, so he got appointed. So it's been a long time since this has happened, and it's likely to happen. I just don't see Joe Biden. I don't wish him ill because I actually don't want Kamala. That is like the worst thing that could happen. But I'm really concerned.
I heard when Obama was president that the reason he had Joe Biden as his vice president was to protect him from any assassination attempts, and I think Joe Biden followed suit.
Yeah, I think George H.W. Bush did that too with Dan Quayle. That's like to guarantee he remained. Yeah, I mean, here's a famous quote. Today is today, yesterday was today, yesterday, tomorrow will be today, tomorrow. So live today, so the future today will be as the past today. This is Kamala Harris. It's a direct quote. It's almost like something of the passage of time. Okay, we're on a tangent. So that I just thought I'd bring that up because it's. Are you sure you don't want to drop out now? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Now more than ever, we need good, solid voices in DC.
Hey, you might. I mean, you and AOC are about the same age. She's a couple years older than you. You guys can hang out. She might be fun to hang out with.
It would be an interesting time, that's for sure. I'm not opposed with having conversations with the woman. I'm not going to cave to her, but
you're making assumptions. Don't assume.
With the individual.
You know, where in your resume that you just spouted off did you say you were a biologist? So stop.
I was one of my first what's the word, trolls on social media said that as a conservative woman I have Stockholm syndrome, and my response was, at least I know what a woman is.
Are you sure?
I am quite
okay.
certain.
I love the confidence. You just exude confidence. I'm pretty confident you're a woman too, so I can figure that out. But and that's, I mean, getting back to the basics. One of the things that I have a huge issue with, and we discussed this. There was a bill that failed. The Republicans failed, and there was some provisions in there to help some servicemen who have cancers and various other issues from. It's escaping my mind right now, but then, the burning pit stuff, and then Ted Cruz basically helped stop that bill because there was about $400 million for something. I don't remember what it is, and he said he wanted a clean bill. And there's a fist bump where he's fist bumping one of his fellow senators for stopping it. And that's part of the problem we have in D.C. Do you favor getting rid of the whole idea of omnibus bills, where they have 300,000 things in one bill?
I do. I feel very strongly that the people that are voting on the bills, the congressmen, the congresswomen, actually need to read them and know what's going on in them. And I think with these omnibus bills, so many people don't read them. And that veterans bill, honestly, is sad. I'm looking into that because veterans issues are something that have been brought to my attention. People in this district feel very strongly, a lot of them do, that Mark Pocan and Tammy Baldwin use the veterans as election pawns and then forget about them. And I've held a veterans roundtable. We've done veterans events here because I very much believe that they have put their entire lives on the line, and they deserve our respect and our care and our attention, and they're not just an election pawn and not just an afterthought. So obviously with this bill, I would want to do whatever we can to help them, though I do know that with that issue of the Democrats using them as election pawns, they are trying to slip those things in to be able to say, well, Republicans are voting against our veterans. And there's definitely two sides to this story, where a lot of Republicans are saying, it was a horrible thing that she slipped in, and a lot of people are saying, well, it was really just a tax gimmick. And I want to do my full research before I speak specifically to this bill. But as far as the omnibus bills go, I do honestly support single issue bills, so that people are just voting on what's there to vote on, and you actually get real results that people can be proud of and know what their representative is doing, hold them accountable, and they can more accurately represent, because there could be two opposing issues in a bill that a certain constituency of a district would vote very strongly for one and against another. We need to separate those things out, and that's a hard thing to tackle, especially in the rut that our Congress is in with so much pork in these bills. But we also need to pay special attention to those that have given so much for our country and make sure that they are taken care of. So I know that the senators that voted against it are willing to vote for it with the pork removed, and so I hope that they can work that out so that it benefits our veterans.
I hope so, but it is, in the end, I mentioned this before too. I mean, even this century, there has not been a single clean bill. It doesn't exist. And, both sides could play the gimmick game as an excuse. So,
Not a partisan issue, it's a politics issue that needs to be taken care of.
I have my concerns with Ted Cruz on a couple of things. Now, my thing with Ted Cruz, I think I did not support him for president at all. I was not, he reminded me too much of a Baptist preacher or something, one of those evangelists, but I couldn't shake that image of him. There's something that just bothered me about it. But I love his legal mind. I think he would be an amazing Supreme Court justice. I just don't want him there. And then he used to be a lot more frugal, but okay, he voted against this bill, but he supported $55 billion to the Ukraine when their whole GDP is only about 80 billion. So we're paying for almost their entire GDP when our country is suffering. And that bothers me. But that has nothing to do with this. Sorry, I had to bring up, that's my 2 cents worth. Okay, so you do have an opponent in the primary, another Republican, or, some people say they're Republicans. I don't know. I don't know the person. I met him once, and that was it. What would you say is your biggest differentiator from your opponent? And if you say because you're a woman, I'm hanging up.
Well, even these days in this district, maybe it's not the clearest.
Well, we're hearing woman and mom and stuff like that a lot in this election cycle, and it's getting quite nauseating. So I'll leave it at that. But anyway, that's a different subject.
I am not one for the identity politics. I want people to vote for me based on policy, not my gender. So I would say the biggest difference, honestly, he got in kind of late, but he seems to be more of the political type, and I've heard this from some constituents as well, where he's a Madison lawyer. He sort of got that politician affect, whereas I just so desperately want to do what the people want and what is sustainable and good for the district. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to do the district good, but we've seen some things from him that are not necessarily as they don't breed as much confidence in the fact that he will stand for the values when faced with DC and all that entails.
Okay, so elevator pitch. Why should I vote for you? Why should I vote for Charity Berry? I can't vote for you. I'd like to vote for you, but I can't. I mean, I suppose I could just go there. The Democrats do that. So,
I heard
but
you can go on My Vote Wisconsin and just get whatever ballot you want. So no, because people are ready for a change in this district. The truth is, we're tired of career politicians. We need passionate patriots that are used to everyday American life. Oftentimes when people look for who to vote for a specific office, and Congress is a good example, they look for who would fit best in Congress. But 90% of the people in Congress fit in Congress, and look what that's gotten. We need to find candidates that fit in with the people that they're trying to represent, and will take that and hold it in Congress, and not give that up for the glory that is the swamp of DC.
well, why would you choose Congress over maybe a lower office, state assembly, state senate, school board, Girl Scout mom? I don't know.
Oh, my mom did Girl Scouts for years. No, she was the cookie chair. That's enough. Honestly, as I was watching what was going on in our government, that's really where I felt led that I would do the most good. I was asked if I would potentially run for other offices in the future. Potentially, I'm not sure what all the future holds. But the truth is, Mark Pocan does not represent the core of the 2nd District, and a lot of them vote for him because he is a Democrat, and they vote D, and they think that because Grandma and Grandpa voted for JFK, they're voting for the same thing. And I that is so far from the truth. We even printed literature to that effect, asking the question, would JFK vote for Mark Pocan? And the answer is a booming no. And so
that was brilliant, actually.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that, and I think we're going to end up going through a lot of that between August 9th and November 8th. But the people of the 2nd District want someone who just has their best interest in mind, and I believe with my whole heart that I can be that for them.
That's awesome. I think you got to follow your passion where you think you'd be more effective. Now, there's a lot of people out there that always say, oh, what are these people? They said the same thing about Kevin Nicholson. Why is he reaching so high? He'd be a great congressman, or he'd be a great state senator and stuff like that. They said the same thing about Clifton Temple, who ran for U.S. Congress. Why is he aiming for Congress and stuff like that? Some people's backgrounds tend to fit better. You've got, like when Scott Walker ran for governor, he was a county executive, so he had executive experience, so that kind of meshed well. Same thing with our, Tim Michels has executive experience from his business background. So does Tim Ramthun, even though he has legislative background as well. So there's some of that.
I've been able to see that too on the campaign trail. Little secret that people that knew me right in the beginning saw very clearly is I was deathly afraid of public speaking when I started this, which is not the best fear to have in a congressional race, but it's true. And the truth is I've gone across the district and I've talked to the voters and I've heard how they've been affected by Pocan, and the things that are hurting them and that they need, when talking to everyone from business owners to veterans to immigrants. Can I tell you some of my biggest supporters are people that have immigrated from China or Bulgaria and are terrified that the socialism that's being represented from our district is going to take down that last beacon of hope on the global scale.
Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Did you know I used to be a Bulgarian dancer?
I did not know that.
I can dance a wicked Rechenitsa. Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh God, I used to know a song. Anche Luco Luco pero popo Luca Orovodi. Anyway, so it's just now that just took me back. I even had these shoes. They're called opanke. They're like leather wrap things that almost like elf shoes. Anyway, I don't mean it to mean anything, but yeah, no, it's just funny you said Bulgaria. I didn't realize we had a lot of Bulgarian influence immigrants here.
Yeah, I mean, there's Madison is a very diverse culture, and we do have a lot of European immigrants. And I was blessed to be able to meet Sergey is one of the immigrants that I've talked to, and he's been a help in the campaign. And
Oh,
but just having gone across the district and being able to talk to all these people, that fear of public speaking diminishes, and it sort of shows me that I was cut to be the representative. I in myself am not necessarily that voice for my own agenda or that idea that I had in my head, but as I have all of the people of the district behind me, I can very easily communicate what they need and what they want, and value the importance of that and fight for it and not be willing to stand down.
well, so you're not a professional politician. That's basically all it is. And in the end, public speaking is just having a conversation like you and I are having, but you're having it with a lot of people. And, it took me, believe it or not, I used to be quite shy. And it
I
took,
don't believe that.
it took a while to get out of my shell. And then started years ago when I was a director of the Greek Hellenic folk dancers. That's how I met the Bulgarian people. They needed men. So, but I started, doing the introductions to our shows and talking about the dances and stuff like that. So I started getting comfortable. And I did some theater in high school, at the end of high school, as I was coming out of my shell, and slowly did that. But never really spoke to, and we had a couple hundred people in an audience. And then in 2012, we did this big rally. We had like 4,000 people there. I didn't realize there was that many people. And here I am talking like I'm talking to you in front of 4,000 people. That was, it was unnerving when I found out how many people were actually there. I didn't realize that. But I did okay. And after that, it was just like, poop, nothing. So now you get into a rhythm, you'll be fine. And you're doing fine. I mean, you're able to carry a conversation. So I can tell you're not an airhead or you fake it really well.
I do my best. No, these issues are important to the people, and people just, they throw around the politics and the little attacks and all the, the different pettiness that comes into, we see it. I mean, in our statewide primaries, but even in our second district, and all sorts of different things. And the race that we're running, the country that we're fighting for, is worth so much more than petty back and forth. And it's worth so much more than just, airheaded, well, I don't know. And these things matter so much to the people. And I can giggle and gab with the best of them, but when it comes down to the root of it, this stuff matters. This is the life of the kids and grandkids I don't have yet. And we're fighting for that country for them.
That you know of.
No, as the woman, I'm pretty sure I would know.
Hey, I couldn't resist. Wait, let's do this. Wait, did I start it? No, I wanted. Oh, there we go. Hey, Paris and Charity, thank you for doing this interview. We got a comment from Chrissy. Hello, Chrissy. Of course, Allie wants to come on the show sometime. Allie, you can come on soon. So anyway, she's out traveling, so she can't come on. I was going to actually invite her on. We could have a three-way conversation. Maybe we could get Chrissy to come on. You know Chrissy. So,
Chrissy Elkin, yeah.
Yeah. So
Hi,
she's watching on YouTube, and then Allie's watching on Facebook. We are live streaming to multiple sources. We got thousands of people watching. How do you like that? Not yet, but there will. People watch the rebroadcast, and that's where we get several hundred hits usually, depending on what it is. It's hard right now. Plus, I'm literally throttled on Facebook. Somehow they put me on like a 90-day where I'm put to the back of the line. So, and I think as a Greek, I'm offended. It's because I'm Greek, isn't it? No, but it's so not a lot of people are seeing it right now, but stuff like that. But it is, people do watch it, and obviously you can share the YouTube video. That's the best one to share, because then you can share it across any platform or anything. And we'll get that. Let's see. So the primary is next week, Tuesday, but people can early vote for you now. I think you're a dynamite candidate. Now, let's say you get through this primary, which you've got a good chance.
Fully intend to do so.
Obviously, this has been a very Democrat district. How do you think you can overcome that?
I've been telling people that there's two things we have to do, and the first one is almost harder than the second. The second one is to get to Bart Pocan's voters and show them that he is not the JFK Democrat that many of them think they're voting for. No time other than now is better than to see the fruits of these far left extreme policies. People are getting hit in the face with it every day. And so to be able to talk to the voters and point out that that guy that they don't hear from a whole lot is behind the things that are hurting their families, hurting their businesses, hurting their kids, and being able to talk to them about the fact that he's not the moderate that many of them think he is. We've heard from the voters that they've been shocked that he was on the Progressive Caucus. So to get to them and show them that he's not actually representing their American values, that's going to win us over the voters. The first thing we have to do is to get rid of the pessimism of the base in the 2nd District, because for so long, the Republican Party has given up on the 2nd District. And it's really sad to see as a constituent here to know that so many people just give up on it, to be able to get that volunteer base. And we have an enormous volunteer base, honestly, for the district that we have. Over 50 people have signed up to knock doors, more than
Awesome.
that, calls and do different things. Yeah, we've got a great team behind us because they've actually seen someone willing to step up, make the leap, make the sacrifices necessary to actually go out and reach the voters. You know, we're doing things. We were in a parade today in Dane County that Mark Pocan was not in Wanakee. You know, we are places he is not. We are working harder than he is, and the voters will see that. We've gotten comments at the Dane County Dairy Breakfast. My team was told by a lot of people, well, if she works anywhere near as hard as you, we'll vote for her. And people are just ready to see somebody that cares about them. People don't see a lot of Mark Pocan, and so we have a great opportunity to be able to come out ahead because he takes his seat for granted.
Yeah, and we get a lot of our representatives who do that. They just make assumptions, take it for granted, and stuff like that. I think it's important, and I think everybody should have to work for their seat. I like primaries. I'm glad you're having a primary because it brings more attention to the race, and then, you know, we'll get to see what you're made of. You know, can you handle? Yes. Can you handle the pressure? You know, from a crazy Greek like me.
We've already faced vandalism at a fundraiser in Monroe. People spray painted a venue we were going to be at.
Then you're doing something right.
Yep, that's exactly it. And so we just kept going, and we had our venue after being displaced from two venues. We still had our event in Monroe. We didn't run. We didn't hide. We fought for what we believed in, and people are excited to see that.
Have you endorsed a candidate for governor?
I have not.
Good. Okay, and keep it that way.
No, you see a lot of my signs next to all the candidates for governors. You know, it's
exactly
people vote for candidates. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I just, you know, obviously I'm not down in the 84th district for state assembly. I'm supporting Bob Donovan, not David Karst, who's the chairperson of the Milwaukee County Republican Party. Absolutely useless, but that's a different conversation. But anyway, I saw one of his signs with Tim Michaels. I mean, and then I saw signs of his with Becky Clayfish and stuff like that. I think it's important for other races not to commingle and then let everybody come together at the end. And that's ultimately what's got to happen. I know there's going to be people, whoever wins is going to be butthurt. You know, lick your wounds for a day or two and then get to work again and go from there. But hopefully, I mean, obviously you've got a tough week ahead of you, so you're going to be out there working to the very end, and you can work all day Tuesday too. Polls don't close at 8 o'clock. Have you voted yet?
No, I have not. I will vote in person on the night.
On election day? Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, our time is up. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Charity, how can they find you?
My website is Charity Berry for Congress. Berry is Barry. So charityberryforcongress.com. And you can reach me through the contact page there. That goes right to my email. I'm on Facebook at Charity Berry for Congress. I'm on Twitter at Berry Congress, Instagram.
Wait.
So.
Repeat Facebook again. You were cutting out a little.
Charity Berry for Congress. Same as the website. One
word. Okay. Charity Berry for Congress. Barry. Not like Chuck Berry, Berry. So anyway, so that's what, I don't know where I came up with that. But I told you, random. That's just the way it is.
I've heard all
But
the
anyway,
jokes, don't worry.
well, I wish you a ton of luck. I will make sure to spread the word. And like I've said, I think it would be great writing about that term limit conversation that we had when you're ready to write. Right now, you've got an election to win. You've got a primary to win. Focus on that. And we'll talk soon. But I think you've got a great chance. Once again, you just got to get out there and work it. Work harder than your opponent. Make those
Absolutely.
connections.
And anybody that can help us, even if you're out of district, can make phone calls. Please get in touch.
And send emails, letters to the editor, and everything else. So awesome for you. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and we will talk soon.
Thank you so much, Paris. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to you soon. All right. That was Charity Berry. She has a really good chance. I like her. I'm very impressed with her. I think she has some great qualities, and for someone who says she doesn't like public speaking, she does a very good job of speaking. So she's definitely in tune with the issues. It's kind of interesting because I think she's around the same age that I think she's in her mid to late 20s, somewhere around there. I think she told me the other night, I think it was like 26 or something. But she was about the same age that AOC was when she came into Congress. And wow, what a difference when you have somebody that has substance and has the ability to have a coherent conversation about very complicated subjects versus having an interactive conversation with somebody. Hey, how you doing? What are you doing Saturday night? That's different. I'm sure AOC is fine. I guess they were trying to discredit her by that music video she did before she was in Congress. I thought it was a fun video, and she was cute in there. So what? I'm not going to sit and chastise somebody for every little thing, but I do chastise her for not having any substance to herself. So it's a breath of fresh air seeing someone in their 20s have such a good command of the issues and stuff like that. So it's rare. It's refreshing and kind of exciting. I think she's got a better chance than most Republicans in that area because of that. I think it'll help her. But at any rate, so that's the end of the show tonight. Tonight was very... And of course, Chrissy, that was brilliant. If I pick on AOC, she'll think I want to date her. Well... I'm not entirely sure she'd want to date me. She's attractive, but her intellect makes her kind of unattractive. That's that old cliche. What is that called? Sapiosexual, when you're attracted to someone's intellect. She just doesn't have it. So sorry, Chrissy, not going to happen. But anyway, it's a good chance. So Charity Berry for Congress, check her out. You know how to get a hold of her. Help her out. She's basically in the Madison area there. She's fighting an uphill climb because of where she is. But I think this is the year to make it happen because there's a lot of seats in the recent year and a half that Republicans have won in districts that have been solidly held by Democrats for decades. So there's an old cliche, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Well, folks, I'm out of here for the night. Another Paris Procopis show coming probably after the debate tomorrow night, depending how late it goes. Otherwise, it'll be on Tuesday night. Have yourself a great evening. Stay out of trouble. And remember, no matter where you go, there you are. Talk to you soon. Bye. Mwah.